There is a moment most people never notice. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It does not announce itself. But in that moment, power shifts. It happens the instant you stop reacting. You do not explain. You do not defend. You do not justify. You do not rush to respond. You remain still. And that is when others begin to lose control. Most people believe power comes from force, from volume, from pressure, from being louder or faster. But real power has never needed noise. It moves quietly. It does not argue. It does not chase. It does not beg to be understood. And because of that, it unsettles people. Think about what happens when someone provokes you. They expect a reaction. They wait for emotion. They look for movement. When nothing comes, something changes. They start talking more. They begin explaining themselves. They justify their behavior. They reveal insecurity. Because you stepped outside their control. People only control you when they control your reaction. Emotional reactions, verbal reactions, behavioral reactions. The moment the reaction disappears, the leverage is gone. Most people live in automatic response. A message arrives and they reply instantly. A criticism appears and they defend themselves. Attention fades and they chase it. Disrespect shows up and they overreact. Every time power is handed away, the one who reacts is always playing on someone else's terms. The Stoics understood this deeply. They were not passive. They were not emotionless. They were disciplined. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. Inside that space lives freedom. When you stop reacting automatically, you stop being predictable. And predictability is weakness in a reactive world. Calm unpredictability is authority. Observe those who command respect. They speak less. They pause before responding. They do not rush to explain themselves. The most powerful presence in any room is not emotional. It is controlled. Calm is not weakness. Calm is dominance without force. This is not about manipulation. This is not about controlling others. This is about self-sovereignty. A state where no one can pull your emotional strings. When you stop reacting, people feel it. They sense resistance without conflict, strength without aggression, and the world begins adjusting to you. Most people do not seek connection. They seek control. Not always consciously, not always maliciously, but emotionally. They need your reaction to feel powerful. They need your response to feel validated. They need your attention to feel real. When you react, you confirm their influence. Anger tells them they reached you. Defensiveness tells them they affected you. Over-explaining tells them they matter more than they do. Reaction is feedback, and feedback feeds ego. This is why silence feels threatening. When you do not react, the other person is left alone with themselves, with their words, with their intentions, with their insecurity. They expected friction. They got emptiness. They expected resistance. They got calm. That calm exposes something uncomfortable. It reveals that their emotional tactics failed. People who rely on reactions panic when they don't get one. They escalate. They repeat themselves. They increase intensity. not because they are strong, but because they are losing leverage. Notice this pattern carefully. When someone raises their voice, it is not confidence, it is desperation. When someone pushes for a response, it is not strength, it is fear of irrelevance. The disciplined mind does not rush to answer noise. It waits. Because waiting forces the other person to reveal their position. Silence creates a symmetry. You observe. They perform. You remain grounded. They become exposed. This is why emotionally disciplined people appear intimidating without doing anything. They are not reacting from the outside. They are acting from the inside. And that difference is everything. The moment you stop reacting, the power dynamic flips. The one seeking control becomes the one seeking reassurance. And you have said nothing. This is the quiet paradox. You gain influence by removing yourself from the emotional exchange. Not through withdrawal, but through presence without engagement. Calm presence disrupts emotional games. It forces honesty. It reveals intent. It strips manipulation of its disguise. Because manipulation needs motion. It needs emotion. It needs speed. It needs impulse. Silence starves it. And when manipulation is starved, it collapses. This is why non-reaction is feared. It cannot be rushed. It cannot be pressured. It cannot be controlled. Only respected. Reactivity is not a personality trait. It is an addiction. And like all addictions, it feels justified while it is happening. People tell themselves they are being honest, that they are standing up for themselves, that they are expressing their truth. But underneath, something else is happening. Their nervous system is seeking relief. Reaction releases tension. Reaction discharges discomfort. Reaction gives the illusion of control for a moment. Then the cycle begins again. This is why reactive people are always tired. Not physically, mentally. They are constantly responding to stimuli they did not choose. Messages, opinions, provocations, expectations. Every reaction pulls them outward. Their center weakens. And a person without a center is easy to move. The disciplined mind sees this clearly. It understands that not every stimulus deserves a response. Most stimuli are noise. Noise exists to hijack attention. Attention is the real currency. Whoever controls your attention controls your behavior. This is why the modern world is engineered to provoke reaction. Outrage headlines, instant notifications, endless commentary. All of it trains immediacy. And immediacy destroys depth. Depth requires delay. Delay creates space. Space restores choice. The reactive person lives without space. They respond before they think. They explain before they understand. They speak before they are centered. And once spoken, words cannot be taken back. Silence, however, keeps options open. This is why silence feels uncomfortable to those addicted to reaction. Silence removes stimulation. Without stimulation, the mind is forced inward. And many people do not like what they find there. Restlessness, insecurity, unresolved emotion. So they react again. The disciplined mind does the opposite. It tolerates discomfort. It allows the urge to pass without acting on it. And something powerful happens. The urge weakens. Emotion loses momentum. the nervous system learns a new pattern. I do not need to react to survive. This is where freedom begins. Each time you resist the impulse to react, you reclaim territory, not over others, over yourself. Self-mastery is built in these moments. Quiet moments, invisible moments, moments no one applauds, but they accumulate. And over time, something changes. You no longer feel pulled by every stimulus. You no longer feel obligated to respond. You no longer feel pressured to explain. Your presence becomes heavier because it is no longer fragmented. The addicted mind seeks relief. The disciplined mind seeks alignment. Alignment lasts. Silence is misunderstood. Most people think silence means weakness. They believe it means surrender. They assume it means you have nothing to say. In reality, silence is one of the most aggressive positions you can take when it is chosen. Noise is easy. Reaction is easy. Impulse is easy. Silence requires control, and control is rare. This is why silence makes people uncomfortable. When you do not respond, you remove the structure they rely on. They expected resistance. They expected emotion. They expected engagement. Instead, they face uncertainty. Uncertainty destabilizes weak minds. Silence creates a vacuum, and humans cannot tolerate vacuums. They rush to fill it. They speak more. They justify. They expose motivation. They reveal emotional intent. You learn everything by saying nothing. This is why interrogators stay silent. This is why skilled negotiators pause. This is why powerful leaders speak last. Silence forces others to reveal themselves. Words are commitment. Tone is exposure. Emotion is leakage. The disciplined mind listens, not passively, strategically. Every reaction you suppress becomes information gained. Every moment of restraint increases leverage. This is not manipulation. This is awareness. Awareness without reaction creates dominance. Now understand this clearly. People who try to control others emotionally cannot tolerate silence. They need feedback to regulate themselves. They need confirmation that they matter, that they are affecting you, that they still have influence. When they don't get it, anxiety rises. They push harder. They escalate. They provoke. And with every escalation, their position weakens. Because calm does not escalate. Calm absorbs. Calm exposes. Calm awaits. This is why calm people seem cold to reactive individuals. Not because they lack feeling, but because they lack need. Need is visible. Need is exploitable. The moment you stop needing others to understand you, to agree with you, to validate you, you exit their control. Silence is the border. On one side, reaction, chaos, dependency. On the other, clarity, leverage, authority. Most people never cross it. They fear silence because silence removes social cushioning. No reassurance, no emotional padding, no immediate validation, only presence. But presence is power. Silence does not mean you accept disrespect. It means you refuse to participate in low-level exchanges. You are not ignoring. You are choosing altitude. And altitude changes perspective. From above, noise looks small. Provocation looks obvious. Manipulation looks desperate. This is why silence unnerves people. They feel seen without being acknowledged. And that is far more destabilizing than confrontation. Most people believe explanation creates understanding. They think if they explain themselves clearly enough, they will be respected. They will be forgiven. They will be accepted. This belief is false. Explanation does not create respect. It creates negotiation. The moment you explain yourself, you invite judgment. You place your actions on the table and ask others to evaluate them. You turn your position into a discussion, and discussion dissolves authority. Power does not argue its existence. It assumes it. Look carefully at how status operates in the real world. High-status individuals do not over-clarify. They do not over-justify. They do not narrate every decision. They act. And action closes debate. The need to explain comes from insecurity. Not always obvious insecurity, often subtle. A desire to be understood. A fear of being misjudged. A discomfort with silence. But silence does not weaken position. Explanation does. Because explanation signals doubt. It says, I need you to agree with me. And agreement is not required for authority. This is why the disciplined mind speaks less. It understands a hard truth. The more you talk, the more surface you expose. Every word creates an opening. Every justification creates a crack. And reactive minds look for cracks. Now observe this pattern. When someone explains too much, others feel permission to challenge. They interrupt. They question motives. They push boundaries. Not because they are malicious, but because the explanation invited it. Boundaries defended verbally are already weak. Strong boundaries are enforced behaviorally. You do not argue them. You live them. This is why the calm no is powerful. No justification. No emotion. No story. Just clarity. People may not like it, but they respect it. Now consider how often people explain themselves unnecessarily. They explain why they didn't reply fast enough, why they chose a different path, why they said no, why they changed their mind. Each explanation drains authority. Each explanation teaches others that your choices require approval. The disciplined mind does not do this. It understands that clarity does not need permission. Silence after a decision is finality. This is uncomfortable for others, especially those used to access and influence. They will test. They will ask questions disguised as concern. Why? What happened? Are you sure? These are not requests for information. They are attempts to reopen negotiation. The disciplined mind recognizes this, and it does not engage. Not aggressively, not defensively. It simply does not reopen closed doors. This is how authority stabilizes. Explanation creates motion. Silence creates gravity. Gravity does not chase, it pulls. And people adjust themselves around it. This is why silence after action is so powerful. It forces others to orient themselves to you, not the other way around. In the next part, we will expose why people feel threatened when you stop explaining, and why withdrawal of emotional access causes others to unravel. Most people don't notice when you speak less. They notice when you feel less. When your emotional availability disappears, something destabilizing happens. Not to you, to them. Because emotional access is currency. And when that currency is removed without explanation, those who relied on it feel loss of control. They were used to your reactions, your reassurance, your emotional participation. Your silence breaks the pattern, and broken patterns expose dependency. This is why people react strongly when you suddenly become calm. They ask questions, they probe, they test. Is something wrong? Why are you so quiet? Did I do something? They are not seeking clarity. They are seeking access. Emotional access allowed them to regulate themselves through you. Your reactions made them feel seen. Your engagement made them feel relevant. When that disappears, anxiety rises. This is the truth most people never accept. Some people need you reactive so they can feel stable. When you stop reacting, you force them to confront themselves. And most people avoid that at all costs. So they push harder. They escalate tone. They increase emotional pressure. They attempt to provoke a response, because response restores balance for them. But when nothing comes, their internal structure starts to shake. They begin to talk too much. They contradict themselves. They reveal motives. You see the architecture of their behavior clearly. This is why emotional restraint creates power. You are no longer participating in emotional regulation for others. You are no longer absorbing tension. You become opaque. And opacity creates fear. Not conscious fear, uncertainty. Uncertainty makes people lose composure. Now understand this carefully. Withdrawing emotional access is not cruelty. It is boundaries. You are not responsible for managing other people's emotional states. When you stop doing it, you reclaim enormous energy. Energy that was previously drained by explanation, reassurance, reaction. That energy returns to you. And with it comes clarity. Clarity sharpens perception. You notice patterns you missed before. Who only reaches out when they need something. Who reacts negatively to your calm. Who becomes uncomfortable when they cannot read you. This information is priceless, and it only appears when you stop reacting. The disciplined mind understands this trait. Short-term discomfort for others creates long-term sovereignty for you. This is why emotional withdrawal feels threatening. It removes leverage. Leverage people did not realize they were using. Now, let us go deeper. Most emotional manipulation is unconscious. People are not plotting. They are reacting. They push buttons because it worked before. They escalate because escalation used to get results. When results disappear, they feel lost. This is why calm people seem cold. Not because they lack empathy, but because they refuse emotional dependency. Empathy without boundaries becomes self-erasure. The disciplined mind does not erase itself for comfort. It stays present, but not absorbent. That difference changes everything. In the next part, we will examine how non-reaction reshapes social hierarchy, and why calm people naturally rise without competing. Power is often misunderstood as something you take. In reality, lasting power is something others give you without realizing it. Not because you demanded it, not because you fought for it, but because they adjusted themselves around you. This is what non-reaction does. It quietly restructures hierarchy. Most people compete for position. They argue, they interrupt, they assert, they dominate conversations. This creates friction. Friction creates enemies, and enemies require energy. The disciplined mind does not compete for dominance. It removes itself from the competition entirely. And something unexpected happens. Others begin to orbit it. Because hierarchy is not decided by aggression. It is decided by who adjusts to whom. When you react emotionally, you adjust to others. When you stay calm, others adjust to you. This is the hidden mechanic. People unconsciously slow down around calm individuals. They choose words more carefully. They hesitate before pushing boundaries. Not because you are intimidating, but because you are unreadable. Unreactive presence removes predictability, and unpredictability creates respect. Now consider this. In any group, the most reactive person is never the leader. They are the loudest, the busiest, the most emotionally visible, and also the most controlled. The least reactive person often ends up with the most influence. They speak last. They move deliberately. They do not rush to be seen, because they are not seeking position. They are anchored. Anchoring stabilizes environments. People sense it immediately. A room feels different when someone with emotional gravity enters. Conversations slow. Noise lowers. Posturing stops. Not consciously. Nervous systems respond automatically. This is why calm individuals rise without announcing themselves. Hierarchy follows regulation. Those who regulate themselves end up regulating the room. Those who cannot regulate themselves seek control externally. External control is fragile. Internal control compounds. Now let us talk about social testing. When people sense strength, they test it. Not maliciously. Instinctively. They make subtle jabs. They introduce mild disrespect. They push boundaries gently. To see what happens. Reactive people fail these tests immediately. They explain. They justify. They get emotional. And the test escalates. The disciplined mind passes without effort. It does not acknowledge the test. No defense, no reaction, no explanation, just continuity. This signals something powerful. I'm not available for this exchange. And most people retreat, not because they lost, but because they found no leverage. This is how non-reaction establishes rank, quietly, without conflict, without ego. Now understand this. Social hierarchy is not fixed. It is fluid. It shifts based on emotional behavior. Each time you do not react, your position rises slightly. Each time you react impulsively, it drops. Over time, these micro-movements compound. People begin seeking your approval. They wait for your response. They defer without being asked. And you did nothing. You simply did not react. This is why non-reaction feels dangerous to reactive people. It changes the game. They cannot win on volume. They cannot win on speed. They cannot win on emotion. They must either match your calm or lose relevance. Most cannot match it, so they disengage. This is how dominance forms without confrontation. In the next part, we will explore why calm people are trusted instinctively, and how emotional restraint creates credibility faster than any display of competence. Trust is rarely built through explanation. It is built through emotional consistency. Most people believe trust comes from transparency, from sharing thoughts, from expressing feelings, from constant communication. This is false. Transparency without stability creates uncertainty. People do not trust those who reveal everything. They trust those who remain unchanged under pressure. Calm is evidence. When someone stays composed while others rush, panic, or react, the nervous system of everyone around them notices. Before logic engages, the body already decides. This person is safe to follow. This is biological. Humans evolved to read emotional signals faster than words. A regulated nervous system signals survival. An unregulated one signals risk. This is why calm individuals are often trusted with responsibility before they are fully understood. They feel predictable internally, even if their actions are minimal. Now consider how credibility is usually destroyed. People talk too much, promise too much, explain too much. They attempt to manufacture trust verbally, but every explanation carries emotion. Emotion introduces instability. Instability weakens credibility. The disciplined mind does not try to be trusted. It allows behavior to speak, and behavior without emotion is interpreted as certainty. Now let us examine leadership under pressure. When uncertainty increases, people look for one thing: stability. Not solutions, not optimism, not motivation. Stability. The person who does not escalate emotionally becomes the anchor, even if they say very little. Especially if they say very little. Silence during chaos is not absence, it is containment. Containment reassures. This is why in crisis situations, the calmest person often becomes the reference point. Others glance at them unconsciously. They wait for reaction. They mirror posture and tone. Leadership transfers silently. No announcement. No command. Just emotional regulation. Now understand something important. People do not trust competence alone. They trust predictable response. A highly skilled person who reacts emotionally is less trusted than a moderately skilled person who remains calm. Why? Because emotion introduces volatility. Volatility threatens outcomes. The disciplined mind removes volatility. This is why calm people are given authority gradually, not through debate, but through repeated exposure. Each moment of non-reaction reinforces an internal message in others. This person does not break. Over time, this becomes identity. You are no longer perceived as someone who reacts. You are perceived as someone who decides. Decision makers are trusted. Reactors are managed. Now consider communication. Most people believe speaking more increases clarity. It does not. Clarity comes from restraint. The disciplined mind speaks only when speech adds value. This creates signal density. When you speak rarely, people listen harder, because your words are not diluted. Now, connect this to power. Power flows toward those who are trusted. Trust flows toward those who remain stable. Stability comes from non-reaction. This is the loop. You do not need to convince anyone that you are reliable. Your nervous system does it for you. And the more you resist reacting, the stronger this signal becomes. In the next part, we will explore why reactive people lose leverage over time, and how silence collapses manipulation without confrontation. Leverage is not lost in one moment. It erodes quietly, almost invisibly. Most people believe leverage comes from influence, position, or assertiveness. In reality, leverage comes from emotional asymmetry. Whoever needs the outcome more has less leverage. Whoever reacts faster gives leverage away. Reactive people leak leverage constantly. They reveal urgency. They reveal need. They reveal emotional dependency. Every reaction answers an unspoken question. How much does this affect you? And once that answer is known, control shifts. Now observe how manipulation actually works. Manipulation does not begin with force. It begins with timing. The manipulator introduces a stimulus and waits for reaction. If reaction comes quickly, the pattern is established. Speed confirms vulnerability. Once vulnerability is confirmed, pressure increases. Deadlines appear. Emotions intensify. Choices narrow. The reactive person feels trapped but cannot explain why. They believe the situation is complex. It is not. They gave away leverage by responding too soon. The disciplined mind does not accept artificial timing. It does not rush. It does not mirror urgency. It slows the interaction until clarity replaces emotion. This alone collapses most manipulation, because manipulation requires momentum. Momentum dies in stillness. Now let us examine why reactive people are easy to predict. Prediction is power. If someone knows what makes you react, they know how to move you. Praise, criticism, guilt, fear, urgency. Each reaction maps your nervous system. Over time, you become readable. Readable people are manageable. The disciplined mind removes this map. No visible spike, no emotional signal, no timing giveaway. This creates uncertainty. Uncertainty destabilizes the manipulator. They lose rhythm. They escalate too early or retreat too late. Either way, control breaks. Now understand this clearly. Silence is not avoidance. Silence is information denial. You are not withholding truth. You are withholding access. Access is what manipulators need. Without access, they guess. And guessing weakens strategy. This is why calm individuals are rarely targeted repeatedly. Not because they fight back, but because they do not feed the process. Manipulation starves without reaction. Now, consider negotiation. Most people negotiate emotionally even when they believe they are logical. They rush to clarify, rush to justify, rush to resolve discomfort. Each rush reveals preference. Preference weakens position. The disciplined mind tolerates discomfort. Discomfort does not require resolution. Only reaction does. By not reacting, you allow the other side to reveal themselves. They speak more. They overcommit. They expose constraints. Information flows one way. Leverage follows information. Now let us address emotional debt. Reactive people accumulate it. Every unprocessed reaction creates residue. Resentment, regret, self-doubt. This residue lowers baseline confidence. Lower confidence increases reactivity. This is the loop. The disciplined mind breaks it by reducing emotional input at the source. No reaction, no residue. Clean mind, stable posture, consistent identity. Now observe how authority disappears. People who overreact are slowly excluded from decisions, not publicly, quietly. They are seen as unstable variables. Others stop sharing critical information, stop involving them early, stop trusting them with ambiguity. They are still present, but no longer influential. They are informed, not consulted. This is leverage loss, and most never notice it happening. The disciplined mind avoids this fate by remaining emotionally neutral. Neutrality signals reliability. Reliability attracts responsibility. Responsibility builds authority. Authority creates leverage. Now consider this paradox. The less you try to control outcomes, the more control you gain. Why? Because control does not come from effort. It comes from position. And position is psychological. The person who reacts least occupies the highest position in any emotional exchange. This is not dominance. It is gravity. Others orbit. In the final part, we will bring everything together. How non-reaction becomes identity. How identity reshapes your life. And why once this shift occurs, you cannot return to who you were before. There comes a moment when non-reaction stops being something you practice and becomes something you live. Not through effort, not through restraint, but through identity. You no longer remind yourself to stay calm. You no longer rehearse responses. You no longer suppress impulses. The impulse simply does not own you anymore. This is the final stage. Most people never reach it because they treat non-reaction as a strategy. They ask themselves how to appear calm, how to hold back, how to control emotion. But control is temporary. Identity is permanent. When non-reaction becomes who you are, there is no resistance inside you. Nothing is being held down. Nothing is being forced. You are simply unmoved. This is where real power begins. At this stage, silence is no longer a choice. It is a natural state. Calm is no longer a technique. It is your baseline. You do not react because there is nothing inside you that needs to. And this changes everything. People feel it immediately. They sense that emotional leverage no longer works on you, that urgency no longer bends you, that provocation no longer activates you. So they stop trying, not consciously, instinctively, because manipulation requires participation, and you are no longer available for it. At this point, your presence alone sets boundaries. You do not explain yourself. You do not defend your pace. You do not justify your silence. Your nervous system has already decided, and others adjust to it. This is why people around you slow down, lower their tone, choose words more carefully, not because you demand respect, but because your emotional center does not move. Stillness creates authority. Now look inward. When reaction disappears, internal noise collapses. Thoughts become shorter. Emotions pass without attachment. Attention consolidates instead of scattering. You regain enormous amounts of energy. Energy you were previously leaking through reaction, explanation, anticipation, and defense. This reclaimed energy does not spike. It accumulates into clarity, into focus, into consistency. And consistency becomes reputation. Not a reputation you manage, a reputation others experience. They know what to expect from you. And what they expect is stability. Stable people become reference points. Reference points become leaders, not because they speak the loudest, but because they are the least moved. Now understand something critical. At this stage, fear loses its grip. Fear survives on urgency, on immediacy, on reaction. When you stop reacting, fear has nowhere to land. You no longer choose relief. You choose position. You no longer respond to pressure. You let pressure reveal itself. And most pressure collapses when it is not fed. This is why disciplined individuals seem to win without force. They are not aggressive. They are not dominant. They are unavailable to chaos. Once this shift happens, you cannot unsee it. You notice reactivity everywhere. In conversations that escalate unnecessarily. In leaders who speak too much. In people who explain instead of act. And when reactivity appears in yourself, you feel it instantly. Not as guilt, not as shame, as inefficiency. Reactivity feels wasteful. It drains energy without producing outcome. So you return to center naturally. Effort disappears. Stability remains. This is emotional sovereignty, not emotional numbness, not suppression, not withdrawal. Sovereignty. Nothing external commands your internal state. The world continues to test you. Noise continues to exist. Provocation continues to appear. But it no longer enters. Because access has been revoked. You are not trying to be calm. You are calm. You are not practicing discipline. You are disciplined. You are not avoiding reaction. Reaction no longer defines you. And that is the moment the world loses control. Because control only exists where reaction exists. When reaction ends, direction begins. Quietly, deliberately, on your terms. This is not something you announce. This is something others feel. And once they feel it, nothing needs to be said. You are no longer reacting to life. You are directing it. And nothing external has access to move you. There is a reason most people understand non-reaction intellectually, but fail to live it consistently. It is not because they are weak. It is because their identity is still tied to response. They believe reacting proves presence. They believe engagement proves importance. They believe expression proves strength. So when they do not react, they feel invisible. And invisibility feels like danger to an untrained mind. The nervous system interprets silence as loss of control until it learns otherwise. This is why early non-reaction feels uncomfortable. Not because something is wrong, but because something old is dying. The need to be seen. The need to be validated. The need to be acknowledged immediately. These impulses resist discipline. They attempt to pull you back into reaction. This is the withdrawal phase. And most people quit here. They mistake discomfort for failure. But discomfort is proof of transition. You are moving from external regulation to internal regulation. From emotional reflex to conscious positioning. The disciplined mind does not escape discomfort. It allows it to pass without identity. That is the training. Every action you repeat becomes a statement of who you are. Every time you do not react, you cast a vote for a new identity. I am someone who is not pulled. Identity does not change through intention. It changes through evidence. Non-reaction creates evidence, and evidence compounds. At first, the mind resists. Then it adapts. Then it reorganizes. Eventually, your self-image updates. You no longer see yourself as someone who must answer immediately. You no longer see yourself as someone who owes emotion. You begin to see yourself as someone who decides. Decision replaces impulse. Impulse collapses. This is where confidence stabilizes. Not confidence that seeks affirmation. Confidence that assumes position. Others feel this shift. They cannot articulate it, but they adjust their behavior. They stop rushing you. They stop pressing you. They stop expecting access. Your internal change becomes external structure, without confrontation, without explanation. Identity radiates. There is a quiet moment when the environment recalibrates. You notice it subtly. People wait longer for your response. They phrase requests differently. They hesitate before escalating emotion. This is not coincidence. This is feedback. The world tests boundaries constantly. When reaction disappears, the test fails. So the behavior changes. This is how power works. Not by force, by consistency. You did not demand respect. You removed volatility. And volatility is what people exploit. Without volatility, manipulation loses leverage. Drama loses traction. Urgency dissolves. You become difficult to move, and therefore impossible to rush. This is when your time becomes protected without negotiation. Your energy becomes respected without announcement, and your presence gains weight without volume. At the final stage, something profound happens. You stop thinking about non-reaction entirely. It no longer feels like discipline. It feels like alignment. Your internal pace stabilizes. Your emotional baseline lowers. Your attention deepens. Life still happens. Challenges appear. Pressure exists. Conflict arises. But none of it enters your center. You respond cleanly. Or you do not respond at all. Both are deliberate. This is when calm becomes structural. Not situational. Not conditional. Structural. Your nervous system is no longer reactive by default. It is selective. This is mastery. Not mastery over others. Mastery over access. Nothing reaches you unless you allow it. And because of this, everything you do carries weight. Not because you try, but because you are no longer leaking energy. This is the quiet endgame. The point where discipline no longer feels like effort, and freedom no longer feels chaotic. You are not withdrawn from life. You are positioned within it, centered, unmoved, directed. And once you reach this state, nothing external can hurry you. Nothing external can provoke you. Nothing external can own you. Because you are no longer reacting to the world. The world is responding to you. There is a misunderstanding about effectiveness. Most people believe effectiveness comes from effort, from speed, from constant action. This belief keeps them busy, but not powerful. Effectiveness does not come from doing more. It comes from wasting less. Reaction is waste. It consumes attention without producing leverage. It spends energy without improving position. It creates movement without direction. When non-reaction becomes your default, something unexpected happens. Your actions become cleaner. Fewer words, fewer decisions, fewer emotional variables. But every action carries more weight, because it is no longer diluted by noise. This is why calm individuals often outperform reactive ones, even with fewer visible efforts. They are not interrupted internally. They do not fight themselves. They do not leak focus through anticipation or defense. All available energy moves forward. This creates momentum that feels effortless from the outside, but is deeply structured on the inside. Now consider decision-making. Reactive minds decide under pressure. Pressured decisions seek relief. Non-reactive minds decide under clarity. Clear decisions seek advantage. Advantage compounds. This is why disciplined individuals often seem to be in the right place at the right time. They are not lucky. They are not rushed. They are positioned. Position comes from patience. Patience comes from non-reaction. Now let us look at execution. When reaction disappears, execution simplifies. You do not overcorrect. You do not hesitate. You do not second guess. You act once and move on. This eliminates friction. Friction is what slows progress more than lack of skill. Most people are not failing because they are incapable. They are failing because their internal system is noisy. Noise creates drag. Non-reaction removes drag. Now consider communication. When you speak less, misinterpretation decreases. When you explain less, authority increases. People begin to infer intent rather than demand it. Inference gives you control over narrative without actively managing it. This is a high-level advantage. You are no longer chasing understanding. Understanding follows structure. Now observe your daily rhythm. Non-reactive individuals experience time differently. There is less urgency, less fragmentation, less mental clutter. This creates long, uninterrupted stretches of focus. Focus builds mastery. Mastery builds independence. Independence removes fear. Fear is the main driver of reaction. Once fear loses influence, everything stabilizes. This is when effectiveness peaks. Not because life becomes easier, but because resistance disappears. You stop fighting situations. You stop fighting people. You stop fighting yourself. And without friction, movement becomes precise, quietly, deliberately, consistently. This is the hidden multiplier of non-reaction. It does not make you passive. It makes you lethal with intention. Because every action you take comes from center. And actions taken from center reshape environments. Not loudly, not dramatically, but permanently. Most people believe power is loud. They believe power argues. Power convinces. Power dominates. This belief is inherited from insecurity. True power does not need to announce itself. It does not escalate. It does not rush. It does not compete for space. It waits. Silence is not the absence of action. Silence is the refusal to waste action. Force spends energy to move resistance. Silence lets resistance collapse on its own. This is why force always exhausts itself, and silence rarely does. Now consider confrontation. When someone confronts you emotionally, they are not seeking resolution. They are seeking regulation. They want you to react so they can discharge tension. The moment you react, you become part of their nervous system. You carry their instability. Silence refuses this transfer. Without reaction, the emotional charge has nowhere to go. It turns inward. And most people cannot tolerate their own unprocessed emotion. So they retreat. Not because you defeated them, but because you didn't join them. This is why silence disarms aggression more reliably than counterattack. Counterattack feeds the fight. Silence ends it. Now, observe influence. People are influenced not by pressure, but by presence. Presence is felt when someone does not mirror chaos. When your tone stays level while others rise. When your posture remains relaxed while others tense. The nervous system reads this instantly. It signals, this person is not threatened. And unthreatened people are the most dangerous. They cannot be cornered. They cannot be rushed. They cannot be baited. Now consider negotiation. The one who speaks first often reveals position. The one who reacts first reveals leverage. Silence preserves both. It forces the other side to expose intent, to fill space, to overcommit. Information flows toward the quiet. This is why silence creates asymmetry. Asymmetry creates advantage. Now understand this deeply. Silence is not passive when it is chosen. It is passive only when it is forced. Chosen silence is dominance. It signals self-sufficiency. It signals that you do not need the outcome to remain stable. And the person who does not need the outcome controls the interaction. Now look at your inner world. When you stop using force internally, you stop fighting thoughts. You stop suppressing emotion. You allow sensations to rise and fall without resistance. This internal silence creates emotional endurance. You are no longer trying to win against yourself. You are observing. Observation neutralizes intensity. This is why disciplined individuals rarely feel overwhelmed. Not because they face less pressure, but because pressure has nothing to grab. Now consider long-term outcomes. Force creates compliance. Silence creates alignment. Compliance disappears the moment force is removed. Alignment persists. This is why silence builds lasting influence. People choose to follow what feels stable. They resist what feels coercive. Now understand the final layer. Silence is not empty. It is full of intent. Intent without expression creates gravity. Gravity pulls behavior. You do not push people. You pull situations toward resolution by not interfering emotionally. This is why silence often feels heavy, because it carries certainty. Certainty without words. And certainty without words is the purest form of power. Force tries to control. Silence allows truth to surface. And truth, once surfaced, needs no reinforcement. It stands on its own. This is why silence outperforms force. Always. There is a moment when something subtle changes. You stop trying to win conversations. You stop trying to be right. You stop trying to dominate outcomes. Not because you gave up, but because you no longer need the victory. This is where real power begins. Most people fight to win because losing threatens their identity. They argue to protect an image. They react to defend a position. They escalate because silence feels like weakness. But once non-reaction becomes internalized, winning loses urgency, because your worth is no longer negotiated externally. Now observe how this shifts behavior. When someone challenges you, you do not tense. You do not prepare arguments. You do not search for clever responses. You remain present. And presence disarms conflict before it forms. The other person feels it immediately. They expected friction. They prepared for resistance. Instead, they encounter neutrality. This creates confusion. Confusion slows aggression, and slowed aggression dissolves. Now consider how this affects relationships. When you stop needing to win, you stop collecting emotional debts. You stop keeping score. You stop replaying moments where you should have said more. There is no lingering tension, no internal court case. Because nothing is unresolved, you allowed the moment to pass without entanglement. This is emotional cleanliness, and emotional cleanliness compounds. Now consider authority. Authority is not asserted by defeating others. It is assumed by not needing to defeat them. When people sense that you are not competing for dominance, they stop competing with you. Hierarchy settles naturally. This is why true leaders rarely argue. They do not need consensus to move forward. They do not need validation to decide. Their calm is their credential. Now observe the internal shift. When you stop needing to win, your mind becomes quieter. There is less rehearsal, less anticipation, less regret. Mental bandwidth returns. This bandwidth is redirected toward creation, toward strategy, toward long-term vision. This is why disciplined individuals build faster. They are not leaking energy into imaginary battles. Now consider provocation. Provocation works only when there is something to protect. An ego, an image, a narrative. When those dissolve, provocation becomes irrelevant. It lands nowhere. The person attempting to provoke feels this immediately. Their tactic fails. And failed tactics are rarely repeated. This is how boundaries enforce themselves. Now consider competition. Most people compete because they fear being overtaken. The non-reactive individual competes only with process. Consistency replaces urgency. Patience replaces anxiety. This creates an advantage others cannot match. Because urgency burns out. Process does not. Now understand this. Winning externally often costs internal stability. But stability compounds. And over time, stability always wins. This is why silence paired with discipline outlasts intensity. Now look at decision-making. When you stop needing to win, you stop rushing decisions. You no longer need immediate closure. You allow complexity to settle. This produces cleaner outcomes, better timing, better leverage. This is why calm individuals often appear lucky. They are not lucky. They are patient enough to let patterns reveal themselves. Now consider reputation. People remember who stayed composed. They forget who argued hardest. Presence imprints deeper than performance. This is why the quiet individual is often underestimated until results appear, then reinterpreted. Now understand the deeper truth. The moment you stop needing to win, You stop being manipulable. Because manipulation requires urgency. It requires emotional investment. It requires reaction. Remove those, and manipulation collapses. This is freedom. Not freedom from people, but freedom from being pulled by them. Now integrate this. Non-reaction is not avoidance. It is not passivity. It is the refusal to let external chaos dictate internal movement. When this becomes identity level, life changes texture. Conversations slow. Decisions sharpen. Energy stabilizes. You are no longer pushed forward. You move deliberately. This is the moment you stop trying to win life and start directing it. There comes a point when the world tries the same tactics, and nothing works. The provocation is the same. The pressure is the same. The manipulation is the same. But you are not. This is when people begin to feel something unsettling around you. They cannot hook you emotionally. Their words do not accelerate you. Their urgency does not infect you. Their expectations do not pull you forward. You remain centered. This creates a quiet imbalance, because most social dynamics rely on emotional reciprocity. You give anger, I give anger. You give urgency, I give urgency. You give fear, I give fear. When that loop is broken, the dynamic collapses. People do not know how to interact with someone who does not mirror them. This is why calm individuals are often described as intimidating. Not because they threaten, but because they cannot be influenced easily. Influence requires access, and you no longer grant it automatically. Now consider emotional hooks. Every hook requires a trigger. Insults trigger ego. Deadlines trigger anxiety. Criticism triggers insecurity. The disciplined mind observes triggers without identifying with them. They still appear, but they do not attach. This creates psychological friction for others, because they expect reaction. They depend on it. When reaction does not arrive, they feel destabilized. Not because you did something, but because you did nothing. This is the paradox. Your lack of movement creates movement in them. They fill silence with words. They escalate tone. They over-explain. And in doing so, they expose their leverage points. You see clearly. Now observe how this affects pressure. Pressure only works when the nervous system accelerates. Deadlines feel urgent only when fear participates. When fear is absent, time becomes neutral. Neutral time dissolves artificial urgency. You still act, but you act deliberately. This frustrates those who rely on pressure, because pressure without panic has no teeth. Now consider social control. Most people are controlled by emotional incentives: approval, belonging, avoidance of conflict. When these lose influence, control dissolves. You stop being steered by reward and punishment. This creates sovereignty, not isolation, but independence. Now understand something subtle. When you stop being hookable, people begin projecting motives onto you. They assume strategy. They assume calculation. They assume intent. This is because unpredictability creates psychological weight. They cannot read you easily, so they assign depth. This is not manipulation. This is how the human mind responds to opacity. Transparency invites analysis. Opacity invites respect. Now look at the internal effect. Your nervous system learns that it does not need to respond to survive. This is a critical rewiring. Most people react because their body believes danger is present. When reaction stops, the body learns safety without compliance. This creates deep calm, not surface calm, structural calm. This calm becomes your baseline, and baseline determines behavior. Now consider endurance. When you are no longer hookable, you recover faster. You do not carry emotional residue. Conversations end where they end. There is no replay, no delayed reaction, no internal monologue. Energy returns quickly. This allows consistency. Consistency builds advantage. Now understand the social shift. People stop testing you, not consciously, instinctively. They sense boundaries without confrontation. They sense finality without explanation. This is the mark of internal authority, authority that does not need enforcement. Now integrate this. The world will continue to pull. It will continue to provoke. It will continue to pressure. But once you are no longer hookable, these forces lose traction. You move through them instead of being moved by them. This is the quiet liberation, not from people, but from reaction. And once reaction no longer governs you, nothing external can steer your direction. You are no longer responding to life. You are navigating it. There comes a moment when something fundamental shifts. You are no longer trying to stay calm. You are no longer reminding yourself not to react. You are no longer managing emotion. The impulse simply does not arrive. This is when discipline stops being an effort and becomes who you are. The world still provokes. Pressure still appears. People still test. But nothing enters you. Events pass through without friction. Not because you are suppressing emotion, but because there is nothing inside that needs defense. You stop explaining yourself, because explanation only exists when you seek permission to stand where you already stand. You stop rushing, because urgency no longer hijacks your nervous system. You stop proving, because proof is unnecessary when your presence is consistent. This is not emotional detachment. This is emotional sovereignty. You still feel, but feeling no longer dictates action. Emotion becomes information, not command. Most people never reach this state because they confuse intensity with strength. They believe reaction means life, but reaction is not power. Stillness is. Stillness contains force. This is why calm individuals change rooms without raising their voice, not by asserting dominance, but by remaining stable. Life begins to respond differently to you here. People slow down around you. Drama loses momentum. Pressure stops working. You are no longer rushed into decisions, no longer pulled into noise, no longer recruited into chaos. Not because you resist, but because there is nothing to grip. This is the highest form of boundary. It requires no defense, no explanation, no escalation. Here is the final truth. The world controls those it can disturb. When disturbance disappears, control disappears with it. You do not become powerful by dominating others. You become powerful by becoming ungovernable. Ungovernable by emotion. Ungovernable by urgency. ungovernable by approval, ungovernable by fear. This is the end of reaction, and the beginning of direction. From here on, movement starts inside you. Externally, the world adjusts. This is not a method. It is a threshold. Once crossed, you do not return. You are no longer reactive. You are no longer available to chaos. You are no longer shaped by noise. You are centered. And centered people cannot be moved. This is what happens when they lose control. Not because you fought them, but because you stopped reacting. And nothing is more powerful than that.